All right. Greetings, everybody. It is, as you all know, the Tuesday, December Swiss tournament, chess, U1900s. My opponent this week is Matthew Wesly, who drew his first round opponent, and so I was looking to also get a win. I drew my first round as well. A little bit of a note: I studied some black openings, E4 and D4, given that's almost all what I face. And so my goal, my little training regimen, is that I want to be booked up through 7 moves of each variation that I think I'll be able to see. That's my goal. The reason why is I basically want to get maybe not an opening advantage or like an open trick, but I want to get out of the immediate opening, avoiding any of the bizarre tricks, with a pleasant to moderate position with ideas. And I gotta say, this game definitely followed suit where I knew what I was doing and my opponent didn't. I think that actually was a massive help. Last week, I did it without analysis on. I'm going to do that this week as well. However, spoiler, I did look up about middle game. My opponent will make a crazy sacrifice, and I had to look up on the tee coming home if it was good or bad. So I looked. I didn't look at any of the sidelines. I didn't really examine things in depth, so I don't think this will spoil me too much. But I do know coming up in about the middle game whether my opponent was a genius or a moron or somewhere in the middle. Actually, he was a really nice guy, which is basically almost everyone at Boylston Chess Club. They're all really nice people. Nice person, and it was a fun game. I am a little bit tired. Sometimes I have a lot of energy, sometimes I have less. But let's go ahead, hit the hay, and start recapping. So I've been playing the perk. It is worth noting I've been trying some things online, and my rating on chess.com has cratered, whereas my rating on Lichess has skied to the moon. To the point that my Lichess rating is like 400 to almost 500 points higher. It makes no fucking sense, to be honest. But that is whatever. I basically, as soon as I lose a couple on chess.com, I bounce over to Lichess, and I've been kind of going back and forth, which is kind of funny. All right, and I also missed the quad this past weekend because my schedule didn't allow for it, but maybe I'll play in the tournament this weekend. It's very possible, as my schedule is a little bit more conducive towards it. All right, nonetheless, with the perk, with E4, there's like 3 main moves I've drilled. There's D4, which is very common. There's Knight C3, which is very common. And there are a couple other moves that I don't really want to get into, but those are the main 2 moves. My opponent plays E4, D4, which is like great because when I've drilled on my D4 stuff, the most common, well, not the most common, but one of the most common responses to D6 is them playing E4. So I transpose into this same position multiple ways, and online, this is probably what I face most often, which is great. I had been playing the Maroxy defense, for those of you that remember, but it's not that great, and the better move in this position is actually Knight F6, which is more trying to get into the main line of the perk defense. So that's what I've been playing. Just to let you know, the Maroxy defense goes like this, where I'd play E5, they would take, D takes on E5, I then go D takes on E5, we would then trade queens to get the queenless middle game, and this position is just known as the Maroxy defense. Here you go. They commonly bring the bishop in. You then push the pawn to defend, get a pawn chain, etc., etc., etc. One common idea is basically trying to push your queenside pawns, and they will often just either queenside castle with check, and white actually does have a small advantage. This is different than, similar situation, this, which is known as the English rat. Because here, when they trade, those of you that are smart can tell the difference between this position and the other one I just showed. This is actually slightly good for black, and I do like playing this position. So what I've kind of decided is, this position is good, this position is not good. And it's crazy, because those of you on the video, one has a pawn on E4, the other one has a pawn on C4, and believe it or not, one of these is much better than the other. So that'll be my opening theory drop nugget of the day. I don't want to get too involved in that. I did some schoolwork, you could say. So I'm kind of proud of it. And what I realized is I should be playing this line. So I played knight f6, and I know that there's 2 common responses. I'm attacking the pawn. They either bring the, oh my god, arrows. the bishop to d3, which is less accurate, or they play the knight to c3, which is more accurate, and the more common move. But Matt didn't know. Matt said he preferred either Matt or Matthew. He doesn't care, so I'm just going to say Matt for this video. Obviously, if I know what a person wants to be called, I'll obviously honor that. The honorific. Although I'm not going to call somebody, Emperor God, something like that. That's not going to happen. Anyway, so, when they play this move, again, this is all kind of like my homework, so I'm banging on through. I play e5, and again, moves I've studied, they can take, they can push, or they can play knight c3. Obviously, they can do other things as well, but those are like the most common moves. Those are kind of the moves I've looked into, that I'm familiar with, and that I played a lot online. So, Matt was thinking a bit in the opening. He ended up being a pretty fast player. Neither of us had any kind of clock trouble. And although I had a small advantage on time, it wasn't anything monumental. I did a couple thinks that I'll talk about in a moment. But in the opening, I know that I played my first 8 moves, again, 7 moves, which was, again, the extent of what I had studied in less than 10 minutes. And I know he took a little bit longer because this was a new opening for him. In the recap, he was like, yeah, I kind of know. I'm like, oh, it's called the perk. He's like, yeah, I know the name. He's like, beyond that, I don't know anything about it. I said, well, there you go. Anyway, he chose to take, which is fine. Again, it's a totally reasonable move. Obviously, I retake. And as you can tell, this is a different setup than this situation because he has the bishop on d3, so we don't trade off the queen. So queens are very much live. Anyway, in this position, d takes. He then plays knight f3, and that's a very common move. I've studied this. And most people think, like, oh, you got to defend the pawn. And again, this is something that I remembered. I was very happy. This is where, the studying kind of pays off. The best move is to not defend this pawn. And when I looked into this, when I, learned, I was like, wow, that's kind of great. So he plays this. I kind of, grinned because I literally just went over this again earlier today. I play very quickly bishop c5. And he does, a double take, oh, boy, doesn't he realize his pawn is... he's not defending his pawn. He's dropping his pawn. But I'm not dropping the pawn. I was really hoping he takes, because it's a minor trick, and if he takes, black is better. It's a position I really would like to have played. He doesn't fall for it. He kind of thinks about it for a little bit, and I'll show you why it's a bit of a trick in a moment. But he just simply castles, which is, again, I think actually the best move. Just to show you all, the cool tactic, and this is something that, again, I drilled, so kind of things pay off. If they take, you don't have queen d4, which is a move in other positions to, threaten mate and threaten the piece. That doesn't work here because, maybe it just works here, actually, if they take. I'll have to look into this, because I know that in some of the positions I studied, this wins. Again, hitting this and threatening mate. But you just simply have this move, which is the bishop sacrifice on f2. He takes. It looks like, oh no, I can't actually take the piece. But then you go check, king here, and then you gobble the knight. And I want, obviously this position's great for black because white is very unsafe. He lost his f-pawn. He can't get his rook into the game, and I'm gonna castle, and he has no way of really attacking me, no threat. Black has all the play here. And I studied this. So, this was the position as far as I'd studied. Anyway, he doesn't go for it. He said in the recap, when we talked, he said he thought briefly about taking the pawn, and then he did see that tactic, which is good. There was another spot where he then quickly was like, okay, this guy's offering me a pawn. I probably shouldn't take it. So, it is what it is. All right, once he castles, this is where I get a little bit murky. A lot of situations, it looks awkward blocking in your bishop. I couldn't really remember what the best move was. I know in some lines, it's bishop to g4. Again, just threatening the pin. That's one way of kind of protecting the e5 pawn. Another line is to just move knight c6. And then another move is to move knight b to d7. And it's really hard to remember where your knight belongs on which of these squares. Obviously, if you put it here, it's blocking in the bishop. But for some reason, I thought that was the right move. So I played this. Again, because I looked at this very quickly on the tee, this was the slight inaccuracy. So I'm kind of out of my opening now. Again, trying to go about 7 moves deep, but it is what it is. And here we're just now finally playing chess. My opponent plays b3. It's very clear his idea is to fianchetto, to apply pressure. And so on my move, I have to think how I really want to defend that. And there's a few ways to defend it. If I launch my knight to g4, he can bounce it back with h3. I have to move back, and that doesn't really help things. I can possibly just drop my bishop back to d6. It's very passive. Then I'd have two defenders. And I thought I found like the best move. I play c6. And the reason I think this is good is that with c6 played, obviously I can always just move queen to c7, defending the pawn. But I also have this other threat of moving queen b6, long-term zoning in on the f-pawn, and again, trying to attack, get my knight to g4, and really try to put the screws on my opponent. Also, in a lot of these positions, you want your pawn on c6 in the perk. There's a check variation that I know, where, again, it's more clouded in the middle, but the pawn belongs here oftentimes. Plus, it's kind of mitigating his bishop, which is great, so he kind of has a bad piece. Just to be clear, the other move I was considering here was, I don't think I considered another move here. Yeah, I just thought this was the right move, so I play c6. Okay. At this point, he plays bishop b2, which is expected. He is now attacking the pawn, and the question is, do I have to defend it? And my initial... I'll show you what I played first. I played queen to b6, and the idea here is pretty straightforward, right? I am setting up this battery, and I'm trying to jump my knight in, just basically go full-on offense, and it seems like he can take the pawn. But I didn't think he could. For the record, the other move I was considering is kind of the passive queen c7. I thought I would get my queen off the d file, with the idea of bringing the rook over, if I could, to kind of set it up against the queen. And just kind of clear the space some way, like moving knight to b6. So some ideas like that. Yeah, and that's kind of, that's what I thought was like one idea of the c6 move. The other idea as well, for the record, is once I play c6, rather than b6, is I thought I could maybe play bishop d6, so that I have the two defenders with the idea long-term of rerouting it to b6, so I still have, this pin, the long diagonal. But I played c7, and I'm going to show you what he did, and then I'm going to show you why what I calculated, basically. So that's going to be the order of events, why I thought I could play it, and I did spend a long time on that, like 10 minutes or so. So it's the first time I really used a lot of time in the opening. After I banged out my first 7 moves in like 10 minutes, I spent at least 10 minutes on my next one. So, and again, my opponent actually played pretty quickly, probably to his detriment, to be honest. Most people play a little too fast. A few people play a little too slowly. That's been my take on things so far. And I play just right on the Goldilocks. No, I probably could play a little bit slower at sometimes. But, all right. Queen c7. Where are we? This is move 8. Queen b6, excuse me. And he plays knight bd2. Just trying to solidify, which I actually thought was a good move. But the reason why is what I saw is I thought that if he went bishop takes, which would be probably very, very bad, I would play knight takes on e5. He would play knight takes on e5, and then I have this powerhouse move, bishop d4. And I saw in this line, I'm attacking both the rook and the knight. He would be losing the piece, and I would be winning. So I thought that he couldn't take with the bishop. What about taking with the knight? Well, here I saw knight takes, bishop takes, and rather than knight to g4, which is what I kept looking at, I saw he had this move, bishop g3, and I didn't think it was doing anything. So instead, I saw I had this move, bishop to g4, and I'm attacking the queen, and he can't move f3 to bounce me because of this pin. All right? So he has to move the queen. He can't move it here. He loses it. So he moved it. He would either move it somewhere like here or here. Let's say he goes on up or so. And I thought in this position, I would then queenside castle. And I just thought I had all the play in the world. Like losing the pawn, if he just gives up the bishop or so, like then I have another idea as far as attack. Bringing my pieces in. He cannot develop this knight so easily. His rook is stuck. And I just thought that I was in great shape. So that's what I calculated. And I will say, those were the calculations I made. So I didn't think he could take the pawn. I mean, I thought he could take it, but I thought that it would be bad for him. Which is why when he played knight to b to d, Two, I thought that was a good move because now I saw in the sequences where I move my knight, sort of take, and then he would take. He would actually just be able to move his rook, and I would just be down a pawn for nothing. So I didn't think it worked anymore, which meant I thought I needed to protect this pawn. It looks like there's this next move is like, what the hell? All right, there we go. Finally, it's off the screen. Cool. In any event, when he plays knight b to d2, now I had to reorient, and oh my god, what is wrong with you, little buddy? He's like launching himself at the scratch pad. Come on, you can do it. He's like scared of the scratch pad. What? But unless he sees like a bug, I really hope he doesn't see a bug. Please don't be a bug there. All right. Well, Sebastian sees something when Cass sees something. Sometimes there's something there, but I certainly hope not. He kind of got spooked by his scratch pad. So, in any event, I had to think that like I didn't want to lose this pawn. So one idea I thought was castling, and I thought just castle. Same idea that if he takes the pawn, I'm getting a lot of play. But I saw this, and bear with me because it's the move I end up playing. I played knight to g4 anyway, okay? And my calculation was as follows. What were we on? We're on move 10. No, we're on move 9. Yes, move 9, knight g4. What I thought is, obviously he can't take now because I have the defenders. I thought that if he bounces me, I thought that, wait, hold on. This is the move I played, so I shouldn't just, here, real quickly. The other moves I considered were castling, and I thought that if he, trades, I wasn't sure that this was, like, really good for me. I would do the same, something like this, and, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't sure. This seemed decent, but, I maybe would do something like this. He would back. And I don't know. I mean, he's up a pawn, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, this looks pretty good for white. So I didn't like castling there. I didn't see, what's better there. So instead I saw knight g4. And the reason why, and again, I'll show what he played because he didn't really test me. He played queen e2. I thought that if he, does something like tries to bounce me, then I just sacrifice, or it looks like I sacrifice on f2. If he takes, we just take, we win in exchange, which is great. So he can't just bounce me. I did think that this move is forced. I did think that he had knight to c4, but I thought that I could still still trade in. I thought that after this move, though, it was getting really, really dodgy. I wasn't sure if I was losing material here, to be completely honest. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do in this position. Maybe something like this. And then I guess now he bounces. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is just losing then. Nonetheless, if I play here and he goes here, well, what would I have done? I thought maybe I had this move, actually. Yeah, this is what I calculated. I thought takes with check. Here, trying to trap the piece. Something like this and this, takes. And I thought, I didn't see quite this far out, but I thought this is what I calculated as far as why I was fine against that knight move. 1, 2, 3. I just have 2 pieces for the rook. This looks outstanding for black. So that's what I calculated with the knight move. So I did think that the queen move here was forced, and my idea, again, I'm just defending, and this is what I played in the game, is just simply f6. And the reason why, and what I was saying, is his proverbially strong piece is his dark square bishop. I have a pawn chain here staring at it, so his bishop's not doing anything. And as soon as he bounces me, I can just retreat and then reroute. Obviously, I was a little bit worried about a knight to c4. I did think that was his best move. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he plays queen e2, f6, bishop c4. And actually, this ended up being a pretty good move, too. He's trying to prevent me from castling. But I saw a really cool idea. And I thought I had all the time in the world. I saw knight to f8, to g6, to f4. And I know that sounds crazy, all these knight moves. But then I'm, of course, hitting the queen, trying to free the way. But more importantly, I'd have a knight on f4, also lasering down on g2 if he ever pushes. Maybe I can get there on h3, still pressuring the f2 square. And that's kind of what I was cooking. I thought I could move it there, and then that would free a square for my bishop. I'd go bishop to d7 to finally develop. And then I'd actually go queenside, where I'd then own the d file. And I just thought I was doing really well here, for the record. Again, I was a little bit more concerned about this move, knight c4, because I thought that it would be basically breaking my queen off of this diagonal. I thought I'd have to go back to c7, basically trying to protect the d6 square a little bit more, and my pieces would get a little bit jumbled. He said he was a little bit afraid of me playing b5 in these spots, and he just said he wasn't really sure where his knight was going. I think that he could probably just, like, I don't know, trade off some of my active pieces or something. I'm not really sure. But nonetheless, I did think that c4 was the better move for him. But he plays bishop c4, and again, the whole time when he plays h3, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to respond. And I go with my plan. I play knight f8, which is great. He very quickly, doesn't take very long, and by the way, I blitzed this move out because I did those calculations before, thinking I wanted my bishop there so that I could then queenside castle. And he then plays h3 as expected. Only move is knight to h6, I think. Maybe I still had a sacrifice. I probably should have thought about it a little bit longer. I just didn't really want to make those consolidating trades. I didn't think they were good. But maybe I should have considered it a little bit longer. I didn't, to be honest. And this is where this is up to the point. I've analyzed on the tee up to this point, and he played a move that, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't even considering it. In the recap, I told him, and we both agreed. Matt and I said we think this was a really strong move. It's something I just completely didn't see. It's what I had to look up, and for the record, the computer thinks it's a good move too. In fact, it's going to earn a brilliant. He plays knight takes on e5. And honestly, when this hit the board, the first 7 moves or 8 moves I played in like 10 minutes. I thought I had like a 10-minute think, and then these moves I've been playing slightly slower. The last few I blitzed out, again, trying to reroute my my knight. And when he plays this, he just completely catches me flat-footed. I thought that he would like bring the rook in, maybe the other rook. I guess he can't really move that rook because of lasering down here. I don't know. Maybe I don't even know what else he could do because like I just have a spatial advantage. And I'm going to be moving my pieces, and that's what I thought. I thought I was like a vice grinding on his head, and instead he lashes out with knight e5. I really should have thought a little bit more about this, but. When this is played, I was like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? Obviously, I have to take. I do. In the recap, I was saying that maybe I can play bishop to e6 with the idea of trying to trade these and then castling, just kind of giving up the pawn. The funny thing is this h6 knight is actually protecting the f7 square, so he doesn't have any of those forks or so. And obviously he's going to have to move his knight. And I just thought I'd be a little bit worse. But I took. I said, I'm going to take. I think this is probably a decent sacrifice, but it is a piece for a pawn. We'll see what happens. Now, he doesn't play what I think is the most accurate move. And I think, he runs into some trouble because he played way too fast after a pretty bold sacrifice. I'm going to be honest. He immediately plays queen h5. I think his better move is to play bishop takes on e5 with the threat looming. Again, trying to zero in on the g7 square because he can't. I can't move rook to g8. It's taken away. I don't really have an easy way of defending it. I can't drop my bishop all the way back. I feel like if he played this first, I thought my only move was to go bishop to d4. And I just thought that we would get some kind of position like this. Very, very dangerous. What we were saying is he could even maybe, rather than take the bishop, take here, possibly. Because then when I play bishop takes, he would then go queen takes, which is what happens. I would block, and he has all this pressure. Although I think this is still winning for me, but that's another thing that we were looking at. Anyway, he plays queen check first, and I thought only move. And it's funny, this is why I didn't think it was that accurate, because I wanted to reroute my knight anyway. I landed on g6, and I did see this. Obviously, I'm stopping the check, but I'm also supporting the e5 square. At this point, he's moving very fast, probably too fast, but this seems like the only move to continue his attack. He now plays bishop takes on e5. So we probably would have transposed kind of like either order of the move I suggested. And I played what I thought was the only move, which is bishop to d4. Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of a nutty position, right? I didn't think that long. I thought that he obviously can't just like drop back, get it out of the attack. I would just like, win a rook then. Or maybe I would drop it all the way back and I would just play defense and try to hold with my material advantage as is. I'm not sure what I would do. But I thought that this forced the bishops off. And if I'm trading off his like attacking pieces, then I'm probably in good shape because it is just 2 pawns for the piece. Yeah. Maybe this is another position we thought that maybe he could take. Nah, I don't think it works here. But anyway, whatever. He takes. I take, and yeah, like we have ourselves a game. We have ourselves a game. I felt like some of my moves were kind of forcing, to be honest, at this point. Anyway, when I play queen takes d4, he plays knight f3. And this is really scary. Like, we arrived in this position. He's attacking my queen. He's got a strong e-pawn. He's got pressure down this diagonal. My king is in the middle of the board. My light square bishop doesn't really have moves. And this light square bishop is actually doing a fair amount. It's kind of restricting my movement. Yeah. I didn't really look at too many moves here. I thought the only move really was queen f6. And the whole time I'm worried about e5. Like, 1, 2, and I only have 2. He could slam the rook. If I ever take this pawn, I can never take the pawn because then he would move the rook behind it. And, of course, I would lose my queen for a rook, which, as far as all of you know, is a bad thing. All right, when I play queen f6, this is where, this is where the game was interesting, right? I was looking at e5 as far as maybe his best move. I also thought maybe he should just move rook a to d1, possibly rook f to e1, getting behind the pawn. I thought all those were good. And, this is where Matt blunders. He plays g4. I don't know what he was thinking. He was moving way too fast. Like, he had, I kid you not, an hour on his clock at this point, maybe 55 minutes or so. And when he played this, I thought for like 2 minutes, because it certainly looks like this knight is hanging. He just totally blundered. It's a shame. I thought I played well this game, but maybe I didn't. We'll find out soon. But this move kind of cost us a very interesting game. Again, I thought his best moves were rook a to d1. I thought I was going to play d7 to just try to castle. I thought that maybe rook f to e1 was a good move. Same deal, but now this is kind of coming with force. And I thought that I'd have to back up here. Maybe he can push again. And I'm just totally stuck. I don't know. That's what I saw visions of that pawn just getting throttled in my face and it being really, really tough. And I even thought maybe he could just push it just like this. I did think I had queen f5 here, because if we can ever trade these pieces, I think I have a very comfortable win. I don't think that there's many complications if the queens are off the board. However, he blunders with g4. I take. It seems like a pretty obvious move, and I'm pretty sure the game is over at this point, but I'll play out the moves anyway. At this point, now he plays rook a d1. He's trying to set up any kind of threat, any kind of attack that he can kind of muster. I play bishop to d7 with the hope of castling, because if my king gets safe, I am never losing this one. I don't know if that was the most accurate move, but it felt really good to me, to be honest. It's worth noting, I briefly considered moving to queen f6, but then he has this move, g5, forking me. I would then give back a piece. I did not want to do that. He can't play that here, for the record, because his king is actually, his queen is pinned to the pawn. Anyway, so that's why I play bishop d7. I'm also considering rook f8, just trying to set up some kind of battery on the f file. It means that he can never move his rook over because he has to protect against, like a checkmate. Yeah, so I play bishop d7. I thought in this position, here, I'll show you what he does first. He plays rook d3, trying to chase my queen. But I thought maybe his best play is to sacrifice on d7 again. But this doesn't quite work because here my queen is defending. So I'm not even sure. I don't know how he can continue the attack here. Funny enough, I'm taking away all these checks. He just doesn't have any. So maybe this is so that's why I played it, by the way. So maybe this is just very solid and very simple and very good. All right, he plays rook d3. It's worth noting my queen's under attack. Again, I briefly considered moving to f6 and then realized again that I'd be dropping a piece. I obviously can't move to f5. It would die there. I briefly considered bringing it all the way to f8, thinking maybe on the back rank, total defense. But I then decide, no, it's more appropriate in f4. This kind of felt like an only move to me, to be honest. So I didn't spend that much time on it. At this point, he gets his other piece into the game, rook f to d1. Which is fine. I look at the position and I say, all right, he's playing on, he's down material, but in fairness, he's got a lot of initiative, so I understand it. Although he said that he felt like his attack was basically petered out once he blundered his piece, which I'm not going to argue with that. And I just queenside castle. Now, of course, my bishop is defended. He has his rooks together, but I've now gotten my king pretty safe, and this one feels pretty over. He plays what's probably the only move to maintain some kind of threat, which is queen a5. It's worth noting he has got a couple tricks here. If I was to ever move my bishop, he would then trade rooks. I would trade, and then, spaghetti-o, I would get mated, the queen to d8. So I knew I couldn't do that. So if he can ever swing his bishop over to, basically ajar my, my bishop, I would be in a lot of trouble. So I figured I didn't want to do that. He also, it's worth mentioning, is threatening the a7 pawn. I never thought that was that big of a deal, because if he checked me, and again, I've got to have my king be a defender, I can move up, and then if he checks me again, basically I'd either be able to move over or possibly up, things like that. I also was considering bringing my queen all the way back to b8 to kind of stop that idea. So those were all kind of going through my head. It's worth noting I can give back a full piece, and I'm still totally winning. So I have all the play here. Instead, I play knight e5. My thinking again, if he was to check me, I would just take the rook. If he doesn't move the rook, I would just take it. And if he moves it pretty much anywhere, almost anywhere, I was wondering if I had any kind of checkmates. I saw I had, if he moves it here, for example, which is what he does move to d6. I was wondering if if I have these checkmates. Obviously, if I check him and he goes to h1, I don't think he would. I would have checkmate on h2, but it's the kind of thing that I'm sure the computer will tell me in a moment whether I did or didn't. But over the board, I couldn't quite calculate. I couldn't quite figure it out. I just knew that as soon as I simplified, things would be good. All right, he plays rook d6, and at this point, I kind of do the hem and the haw for a moment because I'm wondering if I'm supposed to just check him and find some kind of mate here. But I see something simpler, and what I calculated is takes. I'm obviously attacking both the queen and the rook, so it kind of forces him to take back with the pawn. And then I saw I could bring my other knight back into the game, finally getting it off the h6 square. I'm attacking the rook, and if he moves it wherever, I can reroute it and basically move it back to e5 exactly with the same plan, just basically getting the attacking pieces off the board, swing my h rook onto f8, and then go to just win the game myself. And that's kind of what I saw. I'll show the last few moves. Obviously, I did win this game. He gives up the rook, playing c5, trying to play for a trick where if he could hold that pawn on d6 and then move his queen to takes on a7 and then a8, that would be checkmate. It's a clever trick, that's for sure. But whatever. I trade knight takes rook. He goes pawn takes. And obviously, as well, it's worth noting, he is threatening queen c7 mate. So very quickly I move king b8 has the dual move of both. If he checks me, I can just run to a8. And he can no longer take the a7 pawn. And once this position is reached, there's like no way for me to lose. Probably safe to resign in this position because there's like no more checks or anything like that. But not like I'm faulting Matt, I'm not. But I'll just show you how the game ended. So he plays queen c7 check. I move king a8. He plays rook b1. Actually, I mean, this was another trick as well. He's trying to threaten checkmate still. But I did see all this from a distance, actually. Bishop c8. I thought this was pretty reasonable. Everything is defended. He has zero way of ever mating me. And I'm going to literally scoop up all of his pieces and pawns. And yeah, it's going to be simple. Because I can land rook to d7, solidifying my 7th row, and kicking his queen. So this looked like a very simple win to me. He plays bishop. Excuse me, he doesn't play bishop c8. I play bishop c8. Excuse me. He plays rook d1, trying to protect the pawn. It's kind of futile, to be honest. And again, this is why the game is pretty much over, because I can play rook d7 here. Obviously, I'm attacking the queen, but I'm also attacking the pawn. He doesn't have a way of defending it. And once I'm basically able to trade these pieces, again, it's just a very simple GG. So, yeah, he plays queen a5. I then take. Once I no longer have to worry about this pawn, because if he got the connected pass middle pawns, maybe he'd have something for the pieces. Maybe. He doesn't want to trade, obviously, because he has no way of even trying to do anything if he just trades. So instead, he plays rook to let's see, queen a5, rook b1, and I just centralize my other rook with the thinking that if he leaves this here, I would just check him. We would go trade, and I'd have a pretty easy victory at this point. So yeah, it's pretty much what happens. He plays rook b3, trying his best to keep it on the game. I do in fact check him. Rook check on d1. He plays. Stop recording some of these moves at this point. This was the only move. King g2, 33. Play queen e4 check. He plays something, because I then wrote king h1. I think he plays here. I then played queen h1 check. He plays king h2. We got that. And he plays king h4. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I kind of stopped recording these moves appropriately, that's for sure. I think this is what happened. He moved king h4. I do have that written down. I then play queen f2 check. He runs h5, and from this position, I play rook 8 to the 5th, which obviously forces the queens. And my opponent, on move 37, resigns the game in this position because he's down everything, and ideally, I'm just going to find a mate basically. In fact, if he trades, it's worth mentioning, and then I trade. That is checkmate. Well, I guess he can block with the pawn. Whatever. The game is over at this point. All right, let's see how we did. Let's look at this real quickly. How long has this recap gone? Only 38 minutes. Cool. This one will be a faster one. Again, it seemed like I kind of played creatively and aggressively in the opening. He found this brilliant sacrifice, and then he just blundered. And then I had pretty simple cleanup duty. Or he did have a couple tricks, but nothing too serious. We finished kind of early, so I'm home kind of early tonight. We went over it together, which was nice. And my prediction was that the sacrifice was good. I looked at the tee, and it was. White was just better. So, nicely done. All right, so this is like opening stuff. I don't want to spend too long. These are like book moves. I know this. I've studied this. This again is the less accurate move, but it's not like it's like bad or anything like that. It's another viable move. I play e5, running up the gut, running up the middle. He then takes. Again, all this is very, very normal. There's nothing wrong with this. Again, knight f3 is better. C3. Oh, C3 is really fun. The C3 line that I studied, I like a lot, actually. I'll just say that. And the reason why is you play D5. And this is something I studied and I looked at. So I actually know this stuff because basically I know what to do with both D takes or E takes. And it's very fun. Yeah, if they play C3 here. Anyway, he doesn't do that. He just takes. So I had to think for a moment. I know it's takes back. Yeah, so once D takes E5 back, the best move is knight F3. It's what he played. And already, like at this position, like point 1, black is equalized. I'm fine, 5 moves in. So it makes me feel pretty good, especially because bishop C5 is the clever, creative move. It is the best move. I play it. Again, I know this. So yeah, so already I'm in good shape. I want him to take the pawn. It would be really bad. Instead he castles, which is the best move. So props to Matt. Again, if he takes the pawn, I'm just showing you. Yeah, it's already like minus 0.5 in my direction for the tactic that I highlighted. Why does this not work? Apparently, no. Okay, so apparently in this position, you can go bishop b5. You can block with c6. And then trade. Okay, wow. I don't know if you see all this, but after all of these trades, you know, you sacrifice, again, the bishop on f2. You're able to win back the bishop on b5. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's even pawns, but now black has, like, bad pawns on the b file. They're kind of disjointed, which is why it's plus 0.8. So this is good for white, but, like, hardly winning or anything like that. So that's why the queen, that's the defense against... Okay, so that's the defense against if they take. If they take here, that's the defense against queen here. However, what I would have done was bishop takes on f5, king takes, queen check. It does say it looks like king e1 is the best option. No, it's not. What the hell? What the fuck? What is going on here? No, get me back here. All right, in this line, D check. And it does look like king E1 is slightly better than F1. But let's just say if it goes to F1, it doesn't matter. We're just taking the queen, the knight back. Anyway, this was like a little trick, little track. What I can hardly like over, but already black is just better. However, that's not what happened after he castles. It looks like knight bd7 is up there, but the best line is actually knight to c6. Honestly, learning that stuff is gonna... Oh no, my move is second best. I mean, they're basically equal. I'm not gonna beat myself up. I like my move. I know it's good in a lot of positions, and it looks like that was fine. So there's nothing wrong with that. He plays b3, which is a very reasonable move. Again, it's not like I'm like winning, but I felt very, very comfortable here. I play the best move, c6, which makes me feel good. Computer kind of likes my plan. Apparently I can castle here. Out of curiosity, if I castle... What's going on? What the fuck? Why does it keep fast forwarding when I click on castles? Alright, that got jumped around. If I castle, can he take this pawn? No. He needs to play bishop. Okay, well, whatever. I play c6. Castling would have been fine. He plays bishop b2. Castling is my best move. And they like queen c7. Even bishop d6 is reasonable. So it looks like I just, like, messed up. Queen b6 is just a bad move. Okay. Apparently I'm supposed to castle here. Now, why... I thought he could take the pawn now. What happens if he takes the pawn? We trade knight takes knight. Bishop takes knight. G4. I saw all this. He goes to g3. I saw this. h5. h4. Huh. Because if you can land h4, he moves h2, and then I sacrifice. So you get the rook for the 2 pieces and the pawn. Apparently king can't take, because in this position, the important move... Oh. Well, I didn't see this deep at all, obviously. That's wild. That's why you can castle. Because you're leveraging this check if he takes back with the... That's good geometry. With the fact that the knight... So I was right, by the way, that all this stuff, the tactics work when his knight is on b1, preventing his rook from being connected to his other rook or queen. So I did... That was a thought that I had during the game. So I'm glad that it shows itself here. Now, obviously, I didn't see this deep as far as why, in particular, castling is so good there. And I do understand now. But, yeah, and so that's why. Because you have that pretty awesome check on d4 to target both the king and the rook in that line. And that's just winning. All right. Now, out of curiosity, how come... He plays the best move, knight b2. That's funny. I just want to review the things that I saw as far as oh no, those are just the responses. As far as like if he takes, because I didn't think, and like all my stuff I was calculating were the takes, but it's funny, the positional response of knight to b to d2, which kind of ignores the threat altogether, is the best move just positionally. Kind of I'm offering the pawn, but if he just simply doesn't take it, white's better. I spent so long calculating him taking the pawn, not really realizing if he just simply doesn't take the pawn, it's not that great for me. I thought he was going to take the pawn, and I wanted to make sure that this worked, and it does. And the reason why, let's see my calculations here. Knight takes, and then do they like d4? Bishop d4, that is? No. How come bishop d4 doesn't work here? They like queen c7. What? Why does this move not work? It does work. Oh! Because now you go c4 backwards, you're attacking the queen. And then you play c3. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. And now the c3 comes with force because it's defended by the knight, and it's now ejecting the bishop. So, cool. This is kind of wild. Now, for example, the computer wants to play knight to g4. It's protected by the bishop, and we're threatening mate. So g3 is forced. This is a very tactical... This is very, very tactical, as you guys can tell. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my games lately have been a lot more tactical. I am working on it. I'm trying to implement more tactics to my play. I feel like positionally I'm quite strong, but I'm trying to get better at areas I'm not as strong. Yeah, I think it's going to serve me in the long run. It's going to serve me pretty well. In the short run, this is tough because you have to be able to see this move, bishop c5, which doesn't seem to make sense because he can just play like b4 to chase, which is in fact even the best move. I guess once you induce that, you can then move all the way back to e7, and apparently this is just good for black, I guess. Or, well, not even that good for black. It's pretty equal. All right. Well, nonetheless, that's kind of exciting, kind of interesting. Let's go from here. So, oh, and real quick, if he plays knight takes, then it would be knight takes, bishop takes, knight g4, which I calculated, g3, which I calculated, and here h5 is the best move. Same deal, just trying to get my rook in the game in this way, attacking on this file. Yeah, all right. Sounds good. Nonetheless, he plays bishop d2. I didn't think that these sacrifices worked, and I thought I needed to now defend my pawn in a different way. I play knight g4. The computer doesn't mind it. They like going knight c4, which, again, I only saw queen e2. I thought that was the only move. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was like literally an extra queen that just popped out. Yeah, do you see that? 2 queens on the board. Wow. I thought that if he went knight to if he went knight to c4... Didn't I do all my whole calculations here? I thought I could go bishop takes. Yeah. I guess it's just not good. Why is this not good? Oh, so if he goes rook takes, it's losing. But if he plays king h1 for the reasons I mentioned, because after queen c7, now he has this move h3. Yeah, all right, so I did see this. Cool. All right, well, in any event, I do get f6 on the board, and I thought that this position was good for me, because I thought that I have some pressure. I can rewind my knight. His bishop is staring at my pawn wall, and yeah, but it's not good for me. Apparently this is really bad for me. Plus 1.8, damn. He plays bishop c4, which is not the best move, which is, I didn't think so. Apparently knight h4, not a move that anyone's going to play, although it makes sense. You're trying to sneak right on into f5, I guess. And they actually don't even mind just alleviating the pressure by just going king h1 as well. That's a good prophylactic move. Makes sense. All right, well, he's giving back some of the advantage that apparently he has here. Bishop c4. I play knight f8. Do they like my plan? They do. They like it. Queen c7, just getting away from any of these shenanigans there might be a good move. And again, prophylactically going to h6. I thought I'd wanted to induce h3 first. But they do like my plan of knight f8, sort of rerouting it. Pretty happy about that. Okay, cool. He now plays h3, which is the best move. It bounces, bounces, bounce, bounce. All right. I should have thought longer. I thought that moving my knight to h6 was obvious. It's not the best move. Apparently h5 is a possibility here. If I go to h5, and he takes, and then I take, he then plays, I guess, the sacrifice. But if he plays like knight h2, I then just play g3. Oh! Because again, I'm working the pin, so he can't do anything. So we'd have to, like, let's say, move here, and oh boy, this is just over for him. Beautiful. So he checks, and I just take. Wow. All right. That's actually a more tricky trappiness as far as pushing, against h3. Something I should have considered. I just moved right away, which, again, I moved right away thinking that this is right. But actually, I should have responded with h5. I think that was the better move. And he plays the sacrifice. Now, what's funny is if he doesn't sacrifice, white still is comfortable. Like, let's say he plays knight e1, just, or again, I wasn't sure what his best move was. Let's say a4. If we arrived at this position, white is better, which, again, I'm very surprised about. I felt very happy in this position. Do they not like my plan of going knight to g6? No, they do. Yeah, they like it a lot. It's an excellent move. Okay, it's basically one of the best moves. The idea of trying to get to f4. Like, let's say he plays, I don't know, knight e1. Yeah, I was going to then just land knight f4, which is the best move. And this seems very strong to me. Okay, they're showing 2 queens on the board. He does not have 2 queens. That is a visual bug. Great job, chess.com. All right, well, we'll skip ahead. That is, let's see, we'll skip ahead to move. Yeah, it's showing that he has got another queen. He does not have a queen here. I can't move this queen. I can move this queen. But that's just a visual bug. This queen is not here. This is just chess.com being very, very stupid. All right, nonetheless, so just ignore that. Nonetheless, he plays this brilliant. When I play over here, I just wasn't even considering it. And I should have, because it's his only move in the position, really, where he's strongly ahead. Computer rightly gives him a brilliant move. Obviously, I've got to take back. I didn't really think anything else was reasonable, so I do. And, they actually like his line better than the bishop takes first. All right, I'm surprised. Why is this not better? Because then I can immediately go bishop d4. We would then trade, and here, apparently, when he plays queen h5 check, I can run with my king. I don't have to block. But I don't think blocking is bad, actually. Yeah, it's the best move, 0.7. Which is what would have transposed into the game anyway. Nonetheless, he plays queen h5 check. I block with a knight. Felt like only move. And then he takes with a bishop, and this was the mistake. He needs to play knight f3 here. Basically, slow burning, giving me a move. And he should have taken it to basically remove the defender. Huh. But he played too fast. He didn't spot that. Which is good for me. At this point, I'm then able to... Ooh, wait. I missed a move here. Queen a5. Because if he takes here... Oh! And then I win the queen. Again, this queen's not here. It's just a visual bug. Oh, I didn't see that. That is really, really clever. So, for all of you tactics peeps, do you see why queen a5 is so strong? I'll show you one more time. Queen a5, he cannot take this pawn. It looks like he can. Because if he takes it, I mean, his best move is just go to d4. What? Bishop d4? That's crazy. But, yeah, is if he takes the pawn on g7, which looks winning, it's now, I just need to clearance the bishop and then pick up the rook, the queen. Wow, brilliant. I didn't see that either, of course. Anyway, he takes in d4. Apparently, the computer gives him a great. I take, gives me only a best. Thanks, computer. Now he plays knight f3. This queen, again, is really bothering me that it's showing as though it's there. F6 only move. I play it. That's good. Yeah, I mean, these last few moves, he, literally blundered a piece at this point. So the game is over. But it would have been interesting if he played rook a to d1 here. Yeah, and I'm not sure what I would have done. Like, we talked about this. They say just play the bishop to d7 anyway. Yeah, I was worried about e5. I was really worried about e5. Apparently I can play queen f5. He can threaten that. Let's say if he was to trade, and then I trade, if we alleviate the pressure, black is winning again. So he had to put his foot on the gas. Unfortunately, he blunders. Fortunately for me. So I guess maybe I didn't play that great. I don't really know. I take the piece, and we'll just quickly go the analysis. We'll see what happens. He plays the rook over, which makes sense. Do they like my move? Yeah. Bishop d7 is one of the best moves. It looks like getting my knight in the game now to f7 is even better. I guess so I can, like, blockade, the pawn on e5. That makes a lot of sense, too. Basically get it to a more active square where it's doing a little bit more. But instead I play here, just trying to queenside castle. He plays rook d3, only move really for him, which is the best move. My move, queen f4, is the best move. Cool. He plays rook f to d1. Makes sense, makes sense. And they like... he did suggest this in the game. He said he thought I should have just solidified. For some reason, I didn't... I saw this, but I didn't think it was best. I would actually go queen takes. He would then take with the queen, and then I would take with the bishop. And, yeah, and I just thought this was, like, winning, basically. Yeah, I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 1, 2. I have a knight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. A piece for a pawn is really strong. They just want me to, like, castle here. And, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'd be able to win this one pretty comfortably, but, who knows? Strange things happen. Anyway, he plays out wide, queen a5. Let's just quickly... I mean, he's down a lot of material. This game is pretty much over. They like my move. Apparently the sacrifice is best here. I actually was I'm not even lying. I was considering this here. Because if he takes here... I would then take with check. I just didn't quite see the follow-up. But I guess it's like something like, what is it actually? Just taking on e4. Not even like any checks or so. Trying to play out wide, maybe? I don't know. All right, well, whatever. That didn't happen. This all seemed very simple to me. Plays rook d6. I trade. It's the best move. He takes back. I then go knight f7. They like my move a lot. It's the best move. Attacking, holding, firm, etc. He then plays c5. It is his best move. I trade the knight. Seems as though it's the best move. Cool. I mean, like, the game's just over. Like, at this point, you know, I just have to fade, like, a trick. Cool. Only move for me, b8. Not a hard one to find, not gonna lie. He checks. I move over. This move is forced. Only move, king a8. Yeah, and again, the game is pretty much over here. So he plays the rook over. I play best move, bishop c8. Not a hard move to find. He just tries to dingle-dangle his rook back and forth. I attack the queen. Cool. He plays up to a5. Yep, taking the pawn is best. Now I don't have to worry about the pawn. This is simple. If he trades, it's very, very simple. He tries to keep it on the board. They still like, it's worth pointing out, like bishop takes over here. I didn't want to remove the defender, actually. I just thought like I wanted my pieces very much, you know, staying there. But it seems like that's just super winning to sacrifice, but it's just very unnecessary. And I feel like I actually think I did a good job of ending this game. d1 check. He plays up to g2. They like rook f8 first. Just setting up the mate, I guess. But instead, my move is best as well. Queen e4 check. He plays to h2. They like it. Queen h1. All right, so my technique was great. Okay, cool. I'm always unsure. They like g1 check as mate in 4. Instead, I play like a mate in 7. The queen g1. Plays to h4. I check him. I guess he could have blocked with his rook. He moves here. And yeah, he resigned in this position. Move 37. All right. Cool. I mate in 3 as well, because like obviously, if he takes, I take, and once that happens, he can then block with g5. But then queen f6 is mate apparently. Cool. All right, let's do a game review. 84.9, not my best, but definitely a pretty solid game. He had that brilliant, but he didn't follow it up great. I thought I played pretty well, and like obviously didn't then put it away, which always is pretty fun. All right, I'll go through that a little bit more in depth later. Let's add this to my game collection first. December Swiss, boom, and we'll call it here. This has been an even hour. Oh wait, real quick, I'll double check the standings. Getting the dub. Looks like Justin won, maybe? No, it has not been updated yet, it looks like. All right, well, we don't know what happened. Sometimes they update it right away. Sometimes they don't. Yeah. Round 2 pairings. Yeah, sometimes they update it right away. Looks like they haven't updated it. No problem. I wonder if there was just a late game. All right. Sometimes they update it on this version of the site. All right, cool. Well, I'll call it here. 84.9, not like my best game, but a different style, and you know he had a really nice brilliant, which I totally missed. Sadly, he blundered. It would have been a more interesting game if he didn't. But as always, I'll take the win. All right. Have a good one. We don't know who I'm playing yet next week. I'll check in on that probably tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be posted by then. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. Later.